Chapter 3, Coal and Petroleum. So children, we'll start with the chapter and we will get to know how coal is formed, how we get petroleum. Okay, so this will be a very interesting chapter for you. So let's start. We use various materials for our basic needs. Some of them are found in nature and some have been made by human efforts. We all know this. So in activity 3.1, we have to make a list, okay, of various materials used by us in daily life and classify them as natural and human made. Okay, so in natural resources you can add air, water, then sunlight, then minerals, then soil, right? And in man-made you can add bridges, roads, buildings, etc. Okay. Now, does this list include air, water, soil, and minerals? So yes, because since all these are obtained from nature, so they are called natural resources, because we get all these things from air, water, sunlight from nature. So these are called natural resources. Now Bojo asks, can we use all our natural resources forever? Yes. So the answer is yes. Okay, we can use all the natural resources forever because they get renewed, they get regenerated through natural processes, and we never face a shortage of these resources. Okay. Now, can air, water, and soil be exhausted by human activities? Again, the answer is no to this question, because air, water, and soil cannot be, see, we will never face a shortage of these resources because these are natural resources and they will get regenerated through natural processes. But yes, if we talk about human activities, so nowadays some human activities are actually leading to shortages of these resources, like air is getting polluted, water is getting polluted. So yes, somewhat we can say that human activities are affecting these resources, right? Soil erosion is not actually a human activity, but yes, soil is also getting less fertile, right? Because of human activities, if we'll say they are cutting forests, and this also leads to less soil. Then, right, and then depletion of water which is fit for use. All these are caused by human activities. Okay, so yes, they can be affected by human activities. Okay. Now, in the light of availability of various resources in nature, natural resources can be broadly classified in two kinds, which are inexhaustible natural resources and exhaustible natural resources. So, if we talk about inexhaustible natural resources, so inexhaustible natural resources are present in unlimited quantity in nature and are not likely to be exhausted by human activities, such as air, sunlight, and water. Because air is everywhere, we need air to breathe, and then we need water to survive, right? Then exhaustible natural resources. The amount of these resources in nature is limited. They can be exhausted by human activities. Okay, and examples of these resources are forests, wildlife, minerals, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Okay, now why these are exhausted by natural activities? Because the people are cutting forests and they are making buildings there, right? So by human activities again. Then wildlife, because their natural habitats are replenishing because of these human activities, cutting of forests, so they have no place to live and they are dying because of that, right? Then overuse of coal, petroleum is again get exhausted by human activity. That humans are using coal and petroleum, right? Now see activity 3.2. Now this is a group activity. If you have a group of friends, you can do it if you wish to. So take some containers, fill them with popcorn, peanuts, roasted gram or toffees. Divide students into groups of 7 each. Further divide each group in 3 categories containing 1, 2 and 4 students. Label them as first, second and third generation respectively. These subgroups represent the consumers. As population is growing, second and third generations have larger number of consumers. Put one full container for each group on the table. Ask consumers of the first generation from each group to consume eatables from the container of their group. Now the second generation consumers from each group to do the same. Then ask students to observe carefully the availability of eatables in each container. If something is left in the containers, ask third generation from each group to consume it. Now finally observe whether all the consumers of the third generation got the eatables or not. Also observe if anything is still left in any of the containers. So what we will get from this activity is that now they are saying assume that the eatables in the container represent the total availability of an exhaustible natural resource like coal, petroleum or natural gas. Now each group may have a different consumption pattern, right? Are the earlier generations of any group too greedy? It may be that the earlier generations and subgroup were concerned about the coming generations and left something for them, right? Which we saw from the activity. So in this chapter, we will learn about some exhaustible natural resources. Okay. So exhaustible natural resources will be, we will mainly study about coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Now, coal, petroleum, and natural gas are called fossil fuels. Okay. Now, what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are formed from the dead remains of living organisms that are fossils. So these are known as fossil fuels. Okay. And we will be studying about three fossil fuels: coal, petroleum, and natural gas. So let's study first fossil fuel, coal. Okay. Now we know that coal is a exhaustible natural resource. Okay. And it is one of the essential fossil fuel, and it is used for industries, for transportation, for electricity. Okay. Now let's see. The coal is hard as stone and is black in color. Okay, here you can see the figure as well. Now what are the uses of coal? Coal is one of the fuels used to cook food, right? Earlier it was used in railway engines to produce steam to run the engine. It is also used in thermal power plants to produce electricity. Coal is also used as a fuel in various industries. Okay, so these are the uses of coal. You can learn them, right? Now, what is the story of coal? How do we get coal from, and where do we get coal from, and how it is formed? Now, how the coal is formed? See, coal is formed like this. About the answer is here. About 300 million years ago, the earth had dense forests and low-lying wetland areas. Due to natural processes like flooding, these forests got buried under the soil. As more soil deposited over them, they got compressed. Now the temperature also rose as they sank deeper and deeper, right? Because if something is compressed, the temperature rises there. So under high pressure and high temperature, dead plants got slowly converted to coal. As coal contains mainly carbon, so the slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is called carbonization. Since it was formed from the remains of vegetation, coal is also called a fossil fuel, right? So this is how the coal was formed, right? Now here you can see in figure 3.2 a coal mine. This is a coal mine, okay? See how big it is, and on a large scale this is done. Then when heated in air, coal burns and produces mainly what? Carbon dioxide gas, okay? So coal is processed in industry to get some useful products such as coke, coal tar and coal gas. Now in this coal mine, coal is getting processed, and then some useful products will be obtained, which are coke, coal tar and coal gas, okay? Now let's study about coke. Now coke is a tough, porous and black substance, okay? And this is a solid form of carbon, right? So it is an absolute form of carbon. This is a solid form of coal. Coke is used in the, now the uses of coke. Coke is used in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of many metals. So what is coke? Coke is a tough, porous and black substance. It is an almost pure form of carbon, and it is used in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of many metals, okay, such as iron, zinc, etc. Then the other product, coal tar. Now coal tar is a liquid form of coal, right? Now it is a black thick liquid. So you can see this figure as well, with an unpleasant smell. It has an unpleasant odor, right? It is a mixture of about 200 substances, right? So products obtained from coal tar are used as starting materials for manufacturing various substances used in everyday life and in industry like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives, perfumes, plastics, paints, photographic materials, roofing materials, etc. Interestingly, naphthalene balls used to repel moths and other insects are also obtained from coal tar. Where are naphthalene balls used? If you have seen your mother store winter clothes along with these small white color naphthalene balls, right? So as to repel the moth from the clothes for 6 months, right? So that is why this is the use of naphthalene ball, and it is obtained from coal tar. Okay. These days, bitumen, a petroleum product, is used in place of coal tar for metaling the roads. If you have seen a road is, they are making a road, right? Some people they make road using a road roller. So earlier the coal tar was used, now bitumen is used, and if you have noticed, it has an unpleasant odor, right? A very strong smell, and it is a black color, thick liquid, right? Now the third product is coal gas. Now coal gas is a gaseous form of coal. Now, coal gas is obtained during the processing of coal to get coke. Now coal gas is obtained in the middle when the processing is done to get the coke, right? So it is used as a fuel in many industries situated near the coal processing plants. Okay, this is the use of coal gas, and coal gas was earlier used for street lighting for the first time in London in 1810 and in New York around 1820. Nowadays it is used as a source of heat rather than light. Now other product, the main product, petroleum. You know that petrol is used as a fuel in light automobiles such as motorcycles, scooters and cars. And in heavy motor vehicles like trucks and tractors, they run on diesel. Okay. So petrol and diesel are obtained from a natural resource called petroleum. Okay. The word petroleum is derived from petra meaning rock and oleum meaning oil, as it is mined from between the rocks under the earth. Okay. So now do you know how petroleum is formed? So petroleum was formed from organisms living in the sea. As these organisms died, their bodies settled at the bottom of the sea and got covered with layers of sand and clay. So over millions of years, absence of air, high temperature and high pressure transformed the dead organisms into petroleum and natural gas. Okay. Now see this figure 3.4. This figure 3.4, it shows the deposits of petroleum and natural gas. You see that the layer containing petroleum, oil and gas is that of above water. Why it is above water? See here you can see layer of oil and gas is above water. Why? Because oil and gas, they are lighter than water and they do not mix with water. Okay. Now let's read this yellow box. The world's first oil wells was drilled in Pennsylvania, USA in 1859. 8 years later, in 1867, oil was struck at Makum in Assam. In India, oil is found in Assam, Gujarat, Mumbai High and the river basins of Godavari and Krishna. Okay. So you can learn this box. Now the refining of petroleum. Now how the petroleum is refined. So petroleum is refined at a refinery. Okay. And all this thing is done by the process called fractional distillation. Okay. So petroleum is a dark oily liquid. It has an unpleasant odor. It is a mixture of various constituents such as petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin wax, etc. So petroleum is not just one constituent, it is a mixture of various constituents. Okay. So the process of separating the various constituents, fractions of petroleum, is known as refining, and it is carried out in a petroleum refinery. And this process is completed or done with the help of fractional distillation. Okay. And if we talk about coal, so the refining of coal or the manufacturing of coal is done by the destructive distillation. Okay. So that is the process name is destructive distillation of coal, and here in petroleum case it is fractional distillation of petroleum. Okay. Now see, these various constituents of petroleum are formed after the refining of petroleum is done. Okay, so we obtain these 7 constituents. So let's read their uses as well. So first, petroleum gas in liquid form, which is LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. So the uses of LPG are fuel for home and industry. Then petrol, motor fuel, aviation fuel, solvent for dry cleaning. Then third, kerosene, fuel for stoves, lamps and jet aircrafts. Earlier, kerosene was used much in quantity for lighting the stoves, the lamps. Now it is not of much use, right? Then diesel, fuel for heavy motor vehicles, electric generators, lubricating oil as lubrication. Then paraffin wax, ointments, candles and Vaseline. Then bitumen. Bitumen is used for paints and in road surfacing. Okay, earlier coal tar was used, now bitumen is used. Okay. So let's read this yellow box again, and this we have already done. So many useful substances are obtained from petroleum and natural gas, and these are termed as petrochemicals. Okay. These are used in the manufacture of detergents, fibers such as polyester, nylon, acrylic, etc. Then polythene and other man-made plastics. Hydrogen gas obtained from natural gas is used in the production of fertilizers such as urea. Due to its great commercial importance, petroleum is also called black gold. Okay. Now let's talk about natural gas. Now natural gas is also again a very important fossil fuel because it is easy to transport through pipes. The natural gas is stored under high pressure as compressed natural gas CNG. You might have heard about CNG vehicles. These are very prevalent nowadays. So CNG, full form of CNG is compressed natural gas, and it is used for power generation. Then it is now being used as a fuel for transport vehicles because it is less polluting than petrol and diesel, okay, and it is a cleaner fuel. The great advantage of CNG is that it can be used directly for burning in homes and factories where it can be supplied through pipes. Such a network of pipelines exists in Vadodara, Gujarat, then some parts of Delhi and other places. Natural gas is also used as a starting material for the manufacturing of a number of chemicals and fertilizers. India has a vast reserves of natural gas. In our country, natural gas has been found in Tripura, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and in the Krishna Godavari Delta. Now Paheli is asking, can coal, petroleum and natural gas be prepared in the laboratory from dead organisms? See, this is not possible in the laboratory because all these fuels are what? These are exhaustible natural resources which are obtained from the fossil fuels. So the same kind of environment which is created under the earth when the fossil fuels are decomposed, that cannot be created in a laboratory. Okay, so that is why they cannot be prepared in the laboratory. Such a atmosphere, such a temperature, it cannot be formed in a laboratory. And also see, the answer is here no, because their formation is a very very slow process, and conditions for the formation cannot be created in the laboratory because fossil fuels take millions of years to decompose, right? So this is very slow process. Now some natural resources are limited. You have studied in the beginning of the chapter that some natural resources are exhaustible like fossil fuels, forests, minerals, etc. You know that coal and petroleum are fossil fuels, right? Because they are obtained from the decomposition of dead plants and organisms. Then it required dead organisms millions of years to get converted into these fuels. On the other hand, the known reserves of these will last only a few hundred years. Okay. Moreover, burning of these fuels is a major cause of air pollution. Their use is also linked to global warming. It is therefore necessary that we use these fuels only when absolutely necessary. So, we should always wisely use these resources, right? This will result, and if we use wisely, so this will result in better environment, smaller risk of global warming, and their availability for a longer period of time. Otherwise, they will get exhausted. They will get finished if we will use it in a much more quantity, right? Now in India, the Petroleum Conservation Research Association, which is PCRA, advises people on how to save petrol and diesel while driving. So their tips are: drive at a constant and moderate speed as far as possible. Switch off the engine at traffic lights or at a place where you have to wait. Then ensure correct tire pressure. Then ensure regular maintenance of the vehicle. Okay. So these are some things, if we'll keep these in mind, we can easily save our fossil fuels and we can use it for longer time, right? So here we come to the end of this chapter. Let's read this what you have learned from this chapter. So coal, petroleum and natural gas are fossil fuels because they take millions of years to get formed. The fossil fuels were formed from the dead remains of living organisms millions of years ago. Fossil fuels are exhaustible resources. They will be exhaustible. They will be exhausted by the human use. Then, coke, coal tar and coal gas are the products obtained by the destructive distillation of coal. Then petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, kerosene, paraffin, wax, lubricating oil are obtained by the refining of petroleum by the fractional distillation process. Then, coal and petroleum resources are limited. We should use them judicially. We should use them wisely. Now here we come to the end of this chapter, and I will upload this exercise in the next video. Thank you.